Hello, everyone. Welcome to A Course in Miracles 365. I'm your host, Tomas Garza. I've got my microphone out today for our viewing pleasure. I've been recording a podcast episode, in fact, a debut episode of a show called Our Conscious Playground with my very good friend and fellow host here on EWN, Lisa Berry. Yes, Lisa is the host of Dating Your Diet on EWN Enlightened Living, which airs at 10 o'clock Eastern Time every Thursday. So she and I have been on the mic here. So here's the mic today. Yes, sometimes I have it on and it's off the screen, but well, hope you enjoy. This is what we're doing here with podcasting. I have these on. I'm just not wearing my headphones right now because I'm live with all of you. So thank you all for tuning in today. And I hope that you're having a fabulous, fabulous Friday wherever you are. And good evening to those of you in Europe and that are joining us, because I know that you'll pop on here. And thank you all for all of your likes, all of your questions, comments, and shares. And it's so much fun for me. I love being here with all of you, and I love all of you on this network as well. So thank you all for showing up, whether you're catching this live or whether it is on the replay, because it's all about awakening to love. That's part of the title of this live stream, because it really, really, truly is all about that. I've said it before, and I'll no doubt say it countless times again, countless, because as adult learners, we need to have things repeated again and again and again and again and again. And then boom, one fine day, we get it. Maybe today, maybe right now, but we have a choice of love or fear. That's the way that it works for us, is we have a choice of who we really are or who we're really not. Never were, never will be. That's the ego. We never were the ego. We never will be, and we aren't right now. Meaning there is no separation of any kind. So as you've tuned in to this live stream, I've been going through a segment of the spiritual text self-study curriculum, really, A Course in Miracles, called the Workbook for Students. And it kind of is and is not what it sounds like. If you're not familiar with this, it is a workbook in the sense that there are daily ideas and daily meditations, if you want to call it a meditation. If you prefer to call it a practice period, call it a practice period. There are things to do. This gives us something to do, something tangible to do every day, to work with an idea that may seem foreign to us. It may seem completely off the wall. It may seem completely esoteric, but the workbook gives us ways that we can practice the idea so that it becomes a part of our experience. This is really about experience, not belief. Because it doesn't matter. The workbook says it, and it makes sense, doesn't it? That it doesn't matter if you believe these ideas or not. You could reject them categorically, yet still practice them. And if that's the case for you, then you begin to have the experience of the idea. Now, if you've had that happen to you, you will realize that that means you no longer reject it categorically. Why? Because it is you. Pure and simple, right? And nobody really wants to reject who they really are. That's why we're involved in spiritual practice in the first place, is we may have run away from that for many, many lifetimes. In this lifetime, you may have run away from it for years or decades even. And here we are on Enlightened World Network. Yeah, we're here because we're looking for the truth, and we actually are the truth. There's in fact no place to look. We're just uncovering the obstacles that we have placed in our own way to the experience of love. And that's it right there. That's the entire Course of Miracles. But no. Yeah, we'll continue with the workbook for students. I mean, it really can be summed up very, very easily. In fact, the very intro to the course itself, the introduction to the component called the text, sums up the course in just a couple of sentences. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the peace of God. Who we are, real, cannot be threatened. Nothing unreal, the ego, exists. Therein lies the peace of God. Guess what? That's your peace. That's peace in general. So we're in the workbook for students, lesson 54, if you're following along. And we're in a period of review ideas where we're reviewing the first 50 ideas in the workbook for students. And today, lesson 54 covers some really powerful ideas. And those are workbook lessons 16 through 20. And I want to go through them because they're absolutely amazing when you put them into practice, when you make the decision to choose love and put all of this into practice. The results in your life are astounding. They're absolutely astounding. I know this from personal experience. Okay, lesson 16. I'm all in lesson 54 here. These are the reviews of lessons 16 through 20 in the workbook. Lesson 16, I have no neutral thoughts. All thoughts have power. All of them. They have the power to make a world. The world we see of war, famine, separation, greed, lack, fear, pandemics, political systems opposed to one another, economic systems that eat people, all of that we've made. Our thoughts have power. What we see is the result of our thoughts. Are we choosing loving thoughts or are we choosing fear thoughts? That is the question right there. What you see is the result of your own power of creation. Now, we don't create reality. Reality simply is. God is. We wake up to the experience of reality, but we're not creating that reality. It always has been and always will be. It always will be because in spiritual practice, we're actually working up to, if you prefer, stepping out of linear time. We don't have any neutral thoughts. All of our thoughts have power. Why? Who we are, our reality, is power, all powerful. Our real thoughts are the thoughts we think with God, with one as, with God. We don't have any neutral thoughts. Therefore, we see no neutral things. This is lesson 17. What we see is the direct result of what we think. The course workbook says, what I see witnesses to what I think. If you think loving thoughts, you see and experience love. If you think fear-based thoughts, then people attack you, or they seem to attack you, or you might be worried that they're going to attack you. We see no neutral things. Lesson 18. I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. Okay, so if you're familiar with A Course in Miracles, you know it talks about joining. Minds are joined. This may be something that you categorically reject. Why? Well, you would expect, you would absolutely 100% expect the ego to reject this thought, that minds are joined, that there are no private thoughts, and there are not, and everything is shared. It's all collective. It's all shared. We certainly appear to be having our own private, separate, cast off, walled up protected experiences. But no, our thoughts are shared. We are not alone in experiencing the effects of our seeing. The commentary here in lesson 54 sums it up really, really perfectly. It says, I have no private thoughts. Now, if I have no private thoughts, and you don't, right? I cannot see a private world. This is an idea that the ego is very resistant to. It will not accept the fact that there are no private thoughts. We appear in the world to be having them, yes. That is what we appear to be doing. But in truth, a reality that just is and always has been, we have no private thoughts. Everything is shared. Why am I excited about this? Because our real thoughts are thought with God. This is our identity, our, well, reality. It's reality itself. This is very powerful when you begin to experience it. Now, if you find yourself not willing to roll with this idea, that's okay. It really is okay. Everything that comes up in the study and practice of A Course in Miracles or spirituality in general is coming up for you to release it. If you're experiencing resistance, excellent. Excellent. You're exactly where you need to be. There is no shame in that. There is no reason to believe that you're doing anything wrong by your tuning in today, by your working on these, by your willingness, even just a shred, a minute millisecond of willingness to entertain these ideas. Even that is a leaps and bounds progress. Where will it lead you? To love, to the truth of who you really are, to that living, breathing experience. That's where. Sound like fun? Good. All right, let's continue. So, lesson 19. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. Well, we're not alone at all. So, we're not alone in experiencing the effects of our seeing. We're not alone in experiencing the effects of our thoughts. Lesson 20. I am determined to see. If you do nothing else with this, just repeat that idea to yourself. I am determined to see. I am determined to see. See things as they are, not see things as they appear to be, not see the fearful world where people attack each other on social media over highly personal choices, over who they are, over where they were born in the world, over who their parents are, over what they feel should be done in the world at large. Attack, 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 attack. Do you choose not to see that? That you could choose not to see that. You could choose to look upon it differently. Are you determined to see? And simply reciting that. This is lesson 20 that we're covering here in lesson 54 of the workbook. I am determined to see. Yeah. Our thoughts have power. If you take only one thing away from lesson 54, our thoughts have power. What we think shows us our reality. And by the way, reality simply is. God is. We are not our thinking, rational, psychological mind. We're not our bodies. We're not, certainly not that. We're certainly not our thinking, rational mind either. Our real thoughts are thought with God. They simply are. And those are the loving thoughts. So here in the world, we have a choice of love or fear. So my great hope for you and for everyone is that we may all choose love and do it all the time on a consistent, persistent basis. All right. So, hello, Carol Ann. Thank you for joining me here today. So, if you all are watching or catching the replay here on EWN, let me know in the comments. And if you have particular questions or observations, I am absolutely happy to take those right here on the live stream. So, thank you all for tuning in. We're going to continue with the workbook for students here. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, I do have guest speakers joining me. Why everything is shared, as you've just seen, we don't have any private thoughts. So, therefore, my experience with the Course in Miracles is not the only one. Clearly, this lends itself to people sharing their own experience. So I have invited people onto the show before, and I'll announce that several days ahead of time when my next guest appears. It's really interesting for all of us as learners and as spiritual teachers, as spiritual beings, as students, always learning to see other people's points of view, because you just never know. This is why it's so important for us to show up and teach, because you never know who needs to hear your message on a given day. And somebody whom I invite as a guest onto the show may have a deeply, deeply impactful message that resonates with you to your core and positively influences the rest of your life and lifetimes to come. How about that? Does it sound like fun? I think that sounds like fun. I think it sounds exciting. So I'm going to be happy to welcome all of these folks on. Now, if you're interested in catching past episodes of this live stream, you can find this in a couple of places. Number one, you can find it on Enlightened World Network's YouTube channel. They have playlists of this and every show on the network, which they update really quite frequently. This is a daily live stream. So that is where you would go to see some back episodes of this live stream. Also on my Facebook group, Awakening to Love, this also streams. So all of the episodes are available there. And I really thank you all for joining today. This has been so much fun for me to show up and to commit to show up every day and share my experiences with you. So I hope that you have a great rest of your Friday and your weekend. And yes, Caroline, you're most welcome. And Julie, hi, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. If you all are catching the replay here, then definitely feel welcome to leave your comments here. And this is so much fun for me. It's such a pleasure. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. This has been A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love.